Excellency Vice President Joof, Honorable Minister of Finance, Mr. Sidi Keta, Dr. Mahmoud Lamin Samate, Minister of Health, and Mr. Honorable Boubacar Ismaila Joof, Minister of Public Service Administration, the newly created ministry. We are gathered here this morning at the office of the Vice President following a very successful trip to India, being the 17th edition of the India-Africa Conclave or Summit. We returned Sunday, and the Vice President decided that in fairness to the Gambian people who foot the bill to India, we should tell them exactly what happened there. And that's the purpose of this press briefing with the country's main TV station, Gambia Radio and Television Services, GRTS. On that note, I welcome Vice President Joof to open the floor.
Government spokesperson, thank you, honorable ministers, for coming. I led a delegation on the mandate of the President to India to attend the 17th CII Conclave, Africa-India Conclave. And we had a very successful meeting with the Indian government and other partners present. We had consultations with the Vice President of India, the Foreign Minister, the Secretary of State for Parliamentary Affairs and Foreign Affairs, the Joint Secretary at Foreign Affairs. I had also a corridor consultation with the Vice President of Zambia and the Deputy Prime Minister of Mauritius. In general, the Indian government has opened up a global line of credit, and the Gambia qualifies for that credit given the concessionary terms, that are in compliance with, what the IMF has said for us. And the global line of credit is about 200 million. And for that, we can access to address some of the challenges that we face in the health sector. So the minister will go into the details. Some of the challenges that we have on e-governance, again, the minister will give you the details. On energy, which basically would center around the water situation in the greater Banjul area, in the urban area, plus the lighting of the eastern part of the country, following the eastern grid. On infrastructure, it will be on roads and also the construction of some government offices in order to remove ministries that are renting, to save government a lot of money which we are paying out, because of rent of the, rent that these ministries and also their satellite institutions are incurring. So in the medium to the long term, it will be to make sure that all ministries and satellite institutions occupy government places rather than rent. That will save us a lot of money. The other thing is that the Minister of Finance also would go into details as to the way we access this line of credit. One condition, though, is that we have to have well-costed, bankable projects that we would present to them for approval, and it doesn't need approval at a higher level. It will be an approval at the Joint Secretary's level. That was what we were told. Alongside that, in acknowledgement of the President's priority attention given to education, he has been awarded, paid the honorary causa in humanities, and also given the key to the university, the Integral University of India. And we salute the President for that kind of achievement. We were also given 35 scholarships, 15 of which are PhDs, 10 masters, and 10 bachelors in engineering, particularly science, technology, except for medicine. But pharmacology and pharmacy is included, and we've just, I had a meeting with the Minister of Higher Education, and I told him to make sure that they utilize these things. And these are full scholarships. Government doesn't have to pay tuition or accommodation or anything. The only thing is that we pay for their air tickets to go to the university. I think these are some of the main highlights, and the respective ministers will go into the details of their sectors as agreed in India. Thank you so much.
Thank you, His Excellency Vice President Joof. On that note, I now invite the Honorable Minister of Finance, Honorable C.D. Keita.
The team participated in the 17th edition of the CII Exim Bank Conclave on the Africa-India relationship, and on this year the theme was growing partnerships, which took place in India from the 19th to the 20th of the month. And we are pleased to report back to the Gambian people that we participated in the first session, which was themed Financing Partnership. We are pleased to report that we, as part of the delegation, we participated in the first session after the plenary session on a topic, financing partnerships for infrastructure. Other participants in this session came from the African Finance Corporation, the African Development Bank, the Indian Exim Bank, and other financing partnerships. So the theme was to come up with proposals and ideas, brainstorm on the way forward on how to finance infrastructure in developing countries. And it was identified that the demand for infrastructure financing is huge, and the strategies there required all coordination between the donors, the donor community, as well as the borrowing countries in order to address the financing gaps. Innovative ideas like asset-backed security financing, public-private partnerships were discussed in detail. And also this year, Gambia is opportune to be one of the 3 focus countries as part of the theme of the deliberations. We had 3 focus countries this year. That is Gambia, Namibia, and Zambia. And this has given us an opportunity to showcase the financing and investment-friendly nature of the Gambia. We were given an allocated slot in the session where we showcase Gambia as a favorable investment destination. And this session was widely attended by Indian participants, Indian companies, and other international investors. We indicated in the session how Gambia is a favorable investment destination, and the number of Indians participating in the Gambian economy, how also the economy is open to further participation from Indian investors. The other segment of the visit focused on the financing, as has been introduced by the Vice President. We have access to a global line of credit to the tune of $200 million from the Exim Bank of India. And now what is required, as has been introduced, is for the different sectors and the different ministries to come up with bankable feasibility proposals on the way to access this financing. The financing met the concessionary requirements, and as such, it falls within our IMF program. So we are pleased that we have one more time another avenue of resource to tap from to address our infrastructure and other development needs. In a nutshell, it was a very successful visit as it showcased Gambia as an investment destination. We have been able to tap into a line of financing that has opened up opportunities for bankable projects to be presented for them to be financed by the Exim Bank of India on concessional terms. In a nutshell, it's a very successful visit, and we're pleased that we participated. We believe it was a fruitful and worthwhile mission. Thank you.
We now hand over the mic to the Honorable Dr. Ahmad Lamin Samate, Minister of Health.
We thank the Vice President for giving us this opportunity to interact with the media regards to our recently concluded trip to India. And we thank the Vice President for leading that delegation on behalf of the President of the Republic of the Gambia. I think it had been a very, very successful trip. We'd had numerous interactions. On the side of the health sector, it was actually in line with the vision of the government of His Excellency regards to providing high quality, timely, affordable health services for the people of this country. And we are unable to do this if we do not have certain things in place. High on that list is the infrastructure. We need the health infrastructure, we need the equipment, and we need the people to be able to provide this for the country. As a country, as a government, we've been doing quite a lot on the side of infrastructural expansion, building new structures, procuring equipment, and so on and so forth. But of course, we should never forget the fact that this is a low-income country, and we certainly need the involvement of partners to ensure, to make that possible for us. So this visit to India is geared towards that, the fulfillment of those goals. High on our agenda, and what was discussed there is the construction of our 1,500-bed teaching hospital. That's going to be a new teaching hospital for the Gambia. I'm sure you are all aware that the first phase of that has started. We currently, with support from the World Bank, building the first phase, so that's a 104-bed facility at Farato. Now, to be able to get us to the 1,500-bed facility, we need some more support. And this trip was also geared towards that. The line of credit the Vice President was talking about and the Finance Minister, part of that, inshallah, will be used to construct part of this teaching hospital. Because we want a situation whereby we do not refer people outside this country for medical treatment. We want to be able to treat all our patients in country, but without the facilities, we will be unable to do so. So this was very high on the agenda, and we are happy that we had that opportunity to have those discussions with our counterparts. Another important point that was discussed is capacity building. More training for the health workers, especially in areas where we do not have the expertise, where we don't have the specialists. Human diseases are the same worldwide. Of course, you have some being more prevalent in some parts of the world, and others being prevalent in other parts of the world. But for each country in the world, it needs actually the complete complement of all the specialties, because the same diseases are everywhere. So if we do not have that, it's going to be a big challenge. So we are we're planning to build more capacity, of our health workers and increase the areas of specialization. So this was also discussed. Also discussed with the partners are the potential opportunities and the actual opportunities that are here in the health sector that the Indian counterparts and other places in India could also have in this country. Now, discussions of public-private partnerships were made so that we could have Indian institutions come to invest in Gambia in the health sector so as to provide quality health care for our people. Now, the issue of having Gambia as a health tourism destination were also discussed so that we have high standard health facilities in the country on private basis or on public-private partnership basis that attract tourists who come here to get healthcare from the sub-region and anywhere else in the world. So these were all discussed. Another point that was discussed was the possibility of having a manufacturing plant for medications in the Gambia that is going to service the West African sub-region. So that's a big plus if it materializes, and inshallah, it will materialize that the drugs are produced here and for local consumption and can be exported to other parts of West Africa. Finally, discussions were also held with regards to the construction of quality control labs in the country, be it for medicines, be it for food. because those are also very essential in our development process. So we had discussions with regards to that, and equally having a forensic pathology lab in this country. That's also very important for confirmation of the causes of deaths and so on and so forth. So these are all fruitful discussions, and now we're going to follow up as a government to ensure that this yield the desired results that we want. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, colleagues, for the support in India. It's an honor to be able to give feedback to the Gambian people following a very fruitful first mission of the ministry. Since I took over, this was the first time I went out of the country. But this was a very good start. Knowing that as a new ministry, at a point when we are trying to set up the structure, the scope, and all these things, the functionalities of the ministry, any exposure to a working system is a plus. India is a huge country, and we gathered that their public service alone is about 1.5 million, 1.3 to 1.4 million people, which is about the size of this country. And they are managing their public servants efficiently. As a result, we were happy to be given the opportunity to discuss with the Joint Secretary from the Ministry of Public Administration, who is at the center of running that scheme where this 1.3 million thereabout are being held to account. They're being assisted to perform, to deliver. Being accountable to the public, the Indian public, is a very interesting highlight of what we learned. So during our conversations, which my colleague ministers attended, we discussed around two things. Firstly, we were looking at e-governance across the public sector. We know a lot of institutional slack is being experienced, in the Gambia. We are having files that are not moving. We are having decisions that are not being executed. We are having problems monitoring the performance of institutions and individuals. So in this 21st century, the best equipment, the best tool is to go digital, is to automate systems and processes and procedures. And India was a very good place to benchmark some of this. We had a conversation around how we can automate our processes and procedures, first beginning with a review of our rule books, which have not been reviewed for a long time. Also talking about how we bring about this e-governance across all sectors, which we have started, we have commenced, but at the moment what is happening is it's a little bit fragmented and piecemeal. What you need is a whole system, a holistic approach to the e-governance introduction, so that the clocking in machines feed into maybe the human resource management information system, feeds into the finance department's IFMIS system. All these things need to be synchronized so that you are able to process data at the end of the day. So in our conversation, we were looking at how this technology, which India is very advanced at, could be transferred to the Gambia and introduced. So we are looking forward to moving that forward using the usual government channels through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Another area we discussed, which is important, is capacity building. Being one of the infant ministries, we know capacity will be an issue, and we sought and got approval for technical assistance to be provided by the Indian government around a couple of areas, but key amongst them would be the introduction of a performance management system, comes along with the introduction of a performance management information system currently being utilized in many Commonwealth countries, India inclusive. So having somebody who's got hands-on in relation to the implementation of the system, the monitoring of it, the maintenance of it would be a very good plus at the introduction stage so that we hit the ground running with this software. We also sought and got approval from them for support with technical assistance. Again, having a very experienced global citizen, could be Indian, could be Gambian, but they'll provide support for the maintenance of this technical assistant to support the new ministry during the next few months when we work on the reviews of our job evaluations, looking at the review of the instruments that we use to manage the human resources of this country. And this technical assistance, again, we were told is available and it's possible. Still on the capacity building, we discussed during this meeting with the Joint Secretary the possibility of having some kind of institute in the country where public servants will have the opportunity to go in for some induction once they are employed, on-the-job training once in a while. When there are changes in processes and procedures again, you need to go in there for refresher courses. And we are looking at how we can use either part of MDI or transform MDI into that institute that will represent the government in terms of building the capacity of public servants. That also we had support from our friends in India who are ready to give us support because they have similar institutes. So these were the main highlights of the conversations we had that we believe this country would need at this point. I know, and maybe I should mention that we've also seen a lot of best practices in terms of human resource management in India, which we hope we'll be able to benchmark on in this country and move on, to make our work easier but become more accountable and productive in terms of the entire public service. So thank you very much.
May I also, with permission from the Vice President, also take this opportunity or seize this opportunity to thank our Gambian mission in India, His Excellency High Commissioner Mustafa Jawara and team. They have done a phenomenal job in not only making us feel home, but actually working out the modalities, the diplomatic, to facilitate His Excellency Vice President Joof's meetings with very, very important people and the conference tables and everything. And may I also seize this opportunity to also congratulate Vice President Joof, because before President Barrow was awarded the Doctor of Philosophy honorary courses in human letters, it was Vice President Joof the Thursday previous who was also awarded an honorary Doctor of Philosophy degree in literature by Suresh Jian University, also in India. I think this would be, we would not be remiss to not mention the embassy's phenomenal contribution. Really, they did a great job, and the Vice President actually mentioned this in the dinner that they hosted for us. They made us very proud. I think they're doing exactly what they are asked to do for the Gambia. And we hope that our consulates and missions elsewhere would also emulate what these people are doing for the Gambia in India.
We have so much to learn and so much to gain from India, when it comes to education, when it comes to the digital economy, when it comes to health, to energy and so on. India is in itself as a country a vast resource, a reservoir of expertise and human and material resource which Gambia could tap and gain a lot from and also learn a lot from.
You've been awarded a degree there and that of the President, His Excellency of the Republic. How important is this in strengthening relations?
Well, I think in a way it is a symbolic gesture of the animated relations between India and the Gambia at the level of education. But these are honorary degrees and they remain so at that level. I had a discussion with the Deputy Prime Minister of Mauritius, and we discussed the possibility of increasing the number of scholarships that are given to the Gambia. And almost in all the fields, we still have Gambians studying in Mauritius. And Mauritius, in terms of their educational system, they are very thorough and they have quality education. And we plan to send more. So we will be following up at the bilateral level through the normal channels, diplomatic channels to enhance the number of, to increase, the number of scholarships. I think we visited the BLK hospital. There are a lot of Gambians undergoing treatment. And we prayed for those people whose conditions are, a little bit tricky, and we hope that they would recover with God's help. As they say, the doctors treat and God cures. So we're hoping that Allah the Almighty would cure those people. And Gambians also benefit from, MRIs, checkups and so on. And that has been going on. And this time they made it free for all the delegation members who wanted to go through, some sort of a health checkup. This has been a long-standing relationship, and we hope to deepen and broaden that relationship between BLK and the teaching hospital here in Banjul. We actually discussed with the executive, and they are willing to capacity develop some of the staff here and have exchange programs, in order to have shared experience, which also is anchored in the theme of this year, which is having a shared future in development. So, we would like to return thanks to the staff of BLK, but also to the staff of, to the Indian government for giving us the opportunity. And as the government spokesperson said, the embassy staff did, a very good job, in terms of the preparations, in terms of the networking, the connectivity, and the actualization of some of these things like the scholarships and other things. So we would like to congratulate, Ambassador Mustafa and his team, Sankung and all the others, over there. They took good care of the delegation. They had a very impressive program, and they made us meet, the people. As the Minister of Finance said, we were a focused country. That means we were given special attention. And that's why this global line of concessionary credit of 200 million was open to us. So, and I hope that people, the ministers, in the next 1 month or so, will come up with bankable documents that we could submit to India and, access these things in order to improve things here back home. So that is something that, will be on I'll brief the President on this, and it will be on his dashboard, it will be on my dashboard, and we'll follow up with these ministers so that at least, we benefit from this real line of global concessionary credit. Thank you very much.
As part of the capacity building request, we already know that about 50 Gambian administrators, permanent secretaries and their deputies have been to India for a week. 2 cohorts have visited so far, and they were being taken through a lot of things around the performance management system of India and other capacity issues. We sought and secured support again for the extension of that facility, so that this time around we even requested that middle-level managers be involved in the exposure and capacity building through these trips to India, which the Joint Secretary willingly endorsed, and in fact requested that 1 more cohort should go in this year before December, so that we have 75 people. And by 2023, the next scheme will begin, which will include the middle-level managers. So this is all geared towards building capacity for the public service so that we can deliver the services our population expects from us.
I'm tied to what the Honorable Minister has said. I also requested that the National Assembly members be invited to India and, for capacity development, but also to look at the way not only the federal government operates at the parliamentary level, but also the state level. And that will give them some experience, and enrich, their expertise and experience in legislative affairs. So we'll be working on that, and we'll be talking to the Speaker and the Clerk of the House and finalize things for, some study tours, by the National Assembly members. Thank you very much.
Just as the Vice President said, it was an opportunity to meet with our patients who are undergoing treatment in India, most of them sponsored by the government to go for overseas treatment, and few of them are privately sponsored. To look at their welfare and to have discussions with regards to their concerns as well. The partnership with that institution is going to continue, inshallah, and then we are looking at another phase of it. That is the conduction of medical camps in the Gambia, so that they send in professionals, consultants or specialists in various fields of medicine to come to the Gambia to work with our teams in our hospitals, so that they are able to treat more patients here at home. Because it's a big challenge sending all the people who need overseas treatment to India or other countries. But if the specialists come here, we'll then be able to treat more of our people here. And we're working very hard to ensure that this happens. These are all geared towards providing the best of care for our people as we build capacity locally, as we build new hospitals, as we have more specialist centers in the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. On that note, that brings us to the conclusion of this press briefing. Vice President Joof, Your Excellency, we thank you for the opportunity accorded to help us disseminate this message so the Gambian people know exactly what we did in India. I think going forward, this would be a very good procedure or practice for our people to know that we are out to be very transparent and to be very open in what we do for the ultimate good of our country. I thank you so much for accommodating us in your office and the time given, and your colleague ministry and the ministers as well.